Okay, today we're going to learn the difference between simple and compound interest. I'm going to show you the quickest and most efficient way for you to get your answer. Okay, so let's read the question. So I want to do sort of like a table here, and then I want to draw a line here, right? I'm going to draw a line for you guys here, like this. Then I'm going to separate this line like this. Then we're going to call this side compound. Then we're going to call this side simple, right? If I wanted to calculate the interest for 5 years, right? Say the first year, second year, third year, and the fourth year, and the fifth year. I would need to say 3,000 Rand multiplied by 15%, right? So 15% of 3,000, 15% right of 3,000. Then I add back the 3,000 Rand. So initially you put in 3,000 Rand, and then they're gonna give you 15% of that, right? Which is 450 Rand plus 3,000 Rand. So in the first year, you would get 3,450 Rand. Because we are compounding the interest, right? Now we would say 3,450 Rand. We want 15% of that in our second year. So 3,450 Rand times 15% plus our original 3,450 Rand. Which would give us our new compounded interest in the second year of 3,967.5 Rand, right? So what you can see here is that we want 15%, right, of the deposited amount, and then we add back the deposited amount to get the final answer. That's what we do when we do compound interest. The new amount will be compounded each year. So this amount will be compounded in the third year, and then in the fourth year, and then in the fifth year. But this would be very difficult for you to do, for you to calculate if, let's say, we said calculate for the next 15 years. It'll take up much of your time, right? Okay, this is why they came up with this formula. This formula you can use to calculate compound interest over any number of years that is required. Okay, in the second year we got 3,967, right? So what I want to do here, I want to show you that, let's say the question wanted us to calculate for 2 years. Let's see if we will get the same amount. So we say A, which is the final answer, P, which is the amount that is deposited, plus 1 plus the interest to the power of n. So we're going to say 3,000, 1 plus 0.15. Interest is always divided by 100, don't forget that, to the power of 2. Now put that in my calculator. I'm going to say 3,000, 1 plus 0.15, close bracket, to the power of 2. I get the final answer of 3,967.5. It says, as you can see, although I was doing this calculation individually for each year, if I just take all the values that I was given and plug it into this formula, it'll still give me the same answer, right? Coming to simple interest. How simple interest works is that the initial interest that you get in the first year, you will use that interest and just add it to the principal for all the number of years. So what I'm saying is that 3,000, what is 15% of that? We know it's 450 Rand, right? So in the first year, you're going to have 3,450, right? In the second year, we're just going to add 450. In the third year, we're going to add 450, and so forth up until we've added 5 450s because it was invested for 5 years. So if we do that, we say 3,450 plus 450, 1, so that's 2, sorry, 3, 4, 5 450s, we'll get a final answer, right, of 5,250. Right, again, you could get a question that asks you the interest in 30 years, right? So you don't have to do it individually as we did here. What you can do, you can use this formula for simple interest. So you're going to say A equals P1 plus I multiplied by N. So the interest multiplied by the number of years. So it's going to be 3,000, 1 plus 15 multiplied by 5 years, which will give you the same answer of 5,250 Rand. And that is the difference between compound and simple interest.